Alright, it's time to make a video because I think I have arrived at a new place. I think I'm going to start tea. The big catalyst for me starting tea or wanting to start tea after many years of weighing my options and a couple years of doing what I can to transition without medical interventions through diet and through exercise. The big catalyst was the election. Trump was elected, and all of a sudden I felt like someone shook me and was like, now you have to make a decision, now or never. And I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that I won't have this option later on. I live in Oregon, which is a state that has much better protections than our federal protection, so I could I believe that my insurance will continue to cover transition-related care. I think that I don't actually have to make a choice right now, but in that moment of fear and panic, I found clarity. So faced with this question of now or never, what do you want? I realized that what I want is to go on tea. And I think I want to go on tea for somewhere between 6 months and 1 year. I also have realized that I probably would feel maybe not as dysphoric, but probably pretty dysphoric if I had a full beard and was presenting as a man and being read as a man all of the time. And so it's important to me not to get to a place where that's happening. At least now I feel like that's important. But also, I don't want to be read as a woman anymore. I feel that I've really put time into changing my presentation, time into transitioning without medical interventions, and I'm ready for another tool. And that's super scary in light of this emboldened bigotry in our country. It's really scary to know that the place I want to be is a place that will likely never be safe. I want to be presenting my gender, which is somewhere in the middle of the gender spectrum, and that means that probably my gender will always be on the table, and that scares me in terms of how I'm going to interact with the state, what my documents will say, also how I'm going to interact with cisgender men who are probably always going to be pretty scary to me. But somehow in all of that fear and uncertainty, I feel this adrenaline of this I know in terms of fight or flight that I am definitely someone that leans into fight mode, and I feel that right now. I feel okay, I'm gonna do it. I am so scared. I have so much fear about safety and regret, and I'm gonna face that fear. It's almost because I have more fear now than ever that I'm just fuck it, I'm doing it. The interesting cognitive dissonance that's happening in my head right now is, in the mornings I will be riding my bike to work, and I'll be just so excited and just grinning, and everybody on the street who I see smiles at me because they're like, oh, you're smiling at me, but really I'm not. I'm smiling at myself. I'm just so happy that I've arrived at this decision, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see how my body changes and feel what it's like for people to see and respond to my gender in the way that I see my own gender, and maybe not to be she'd and ma'amed and all that and ladies every single day. I'm excited to feel that. I'm so excited. And then that's in the morning, and during the workday I'll just think about it. And then at night I'm going to bed, and I'm is being trans even real? Is it are we gonna come to a place in a couple decades where we're like, oh, remember when we all thought like transitioning made sense? And, kind of like how we feel about, a lot of us feel about like lesbian separatists today. Like, ooh, that was weird. That made sense for them at that point. That doesn't make sense now. So I'm kind of like, ooh, I'm doing these things to change my body. And then like the narratives that queer people use to describe themselves like 20 years from now might be so different. Hopefully being trans isn't like this made up thing that I've bought into. And so as I'm getting closer to this decision, I am also seeing some like really huge internalized transphobia that I haven't seen before. Like I've always had those questions, but it's coming out really strong. Like I'm like, why is, in those moments I'm kind of like, I feel bad for all my trans friends too, who might not know that like being trans isn't real. That's feels shameful to admit that I have those thoughts, but I bet I'm not the only one. I bet there's a lot of us that question. But luckily, I have awesome people in my life. My partner, who, as I'm like up at night wondering these things, is like, yes, being trans is real. Reminds me to like tell myself like what I would tell friends, trans friends of mine, or like trans youth that I worked with, or stuff like that. And I just have awesome trans community. So I can't imagine living somewhere without trans community and having these questions. I just bet it would be really isolating and scary, because it's really isolating and scary for me, and I am surrounded by trans people. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited. I'm scared. Moving forward. I'm a really slow decision maker in every aspect of my life. It's not surprising to me that it's taken me like 5 years to reach this point. And I'm telling myself I can stop at any point. I have a therapist note. I went to the doctor. The doctor ordered labs. I don't have to get the labs if I don't want to. I don't have to get a prescription if I don't want to. I can take 1 shot or 2 shots or 3 shots and then be like, okay, I'm done. That's helpful to know that I can stop whenever. And I do plan to stop. I plan to stop, like I said, after 6 months or 1 year. But I want to allow myself to do whatever it is I need to do in the future, and not commit to staying on hormones a certain amount of time or starting hormones. I'm just going to trust myself, and that I know what's best for myself at any one point in time.